This is the Strat-O-Matic Baseball Excel 1970-73 Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Trawler YouTube channel.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 70-73 Summer Carryover League. And tonight, we are in the expansion team division, known as the National League Mountain Division, where you've got Portland, Las Vegas, Arizona, and Colorado residing, which means one of those teams goes to the playoffs every year. It's the reward, it's the bone you throw to expansion teams to at least give them something to play for. Most of the time they get bounced in the wild card round of the playoffs because, well, their expansion teams are not very good. But it really puts the National League in a conundrum because it means that one of the playoff spots is not a traditional Major League team. So the National League hopes that one of the teams in this division runs away and wins it while the other three are eliminated. Because the worst case scenario is if two expansion teams from this division make the playoffs. And as the series began, the Rockies won this division 2 years ago. Las Vegas won it last year. Both teams are at the top of the division this year. So, could both make the playoffs? Well, if the teams play a long series, it's entirely possible. The rest of the National League is hoping either Colorado or Vegas kind of runs away and hides with this division in a 4-game sweep if possible. So what has happened today? Let's go back to Game 1 of the series, opening up in Colorado. Blue Moon Odom for Las Vegas and Ron Reed for the Rockies. Vegas gets base runners early and wastes them. They get a couple runs, but they also put 8 men on base, only scoring 2. Will that haunt them? Vegas's strategy is interesting because I don't think they really have a strategy. They don't really, I can't identify which area of the team they want to put the most talent in. But I will say that they are a pretty cohesive team and they get contributions from all parts of the rotation, bullpen, and the bench and the lineup. But there is no notable strengths anywhere on this team. Whereas the Rockies are put together to crush home runs. They're put together with the homer walk strikeout scenario and no double plays, no stolen bases, force us to get 27 outs. 27 strikeouts would be fine even if that was the case. But in this particular game, the Rockies got a solo home run by Paul Ratliff in the 6th inning, and that's it. The tank went empty. They had a bunch of walks. They walked 6 times, but the final score was 2-1. Both teams blew lots of opportunities. A lot of men left stranded on the bases. Reed got a complete game loss, 13 hits and 2 runs, so he should be glad that it was just a 2-1 game. A very low scoring game in Colorado. The road team, Las Vegas, gets the win. So can Colorado come back at home in Game 2 and tie this thing up? Game number 2. We have the Aces, Ray Culp and Dick Drago. Very good pitchers in their own right. Culp for the Red Sox, Drago for the Kansas City team. Taken away in the expansion draft. This is an interesting game. We get the Rockies with a solo homer by Kingman in the 4th. But then Vegas strings together a nice 6th inning here with a couple singles and a couple doubles. RBI double by Art Shamsky, former Met. RBI double by Aurelio Rodriguez, future Tiger. Or maybe not future Tiger because Vegas loves that guy. 3-1. 3-2 game into the 9th inning when the Colorado bullpen falls apart. Homer by A-Rod, 3 singles and a double. And Vegas, 2 road wins, something that is impressive. If they're against a great team. I don't know about Colorado if they're a great team. I mean, again, last year they were awful. 2 years ago they were great, and maybe they just aren't great again. Maybe, you know. So Vegas gets the 2 wins, and so we'll go to game 3 and see if they can keep it going. Now the National League at this point is rooting for Vegas to sweep. So let's see what happens in Las Vegas. Carl Morton, your 1970 Rookie of the Year for the Rockies, against Ken Brett. And this is a very back and forth game. RBI single, John Bacabella. Sac fly, Don Money. RBI single, Tommy Davis. RBI groundout, Andy Costco. It's a 2-2 game. The Vegas squad gets an unearned run in the 7th and take a 3-2 lead with a chance of going up 3-0, which is what the National League wants, but the Rockies have other ideas. They finally start to get the long ball. It's Rick Monday. Home run in the 9th inning to tie it at 3. Then in the 10th inning, the Vegas bullpen falters, and we get a Jim Driscoll 3-run homer. 2-run homer, I should say. Who's Jim Driscoll? He was a utility player for the Oakland A's who played 1 year, and he batted left-handed and has power, so that's why he exists. And there you go, folks. Kind of a weird kind of series developing here. The road teams won all the games. I don't know how good or bad either team is after doing all this. Some nice pieces, some glaring holes on these rosters. So what happens in Game 4? Do we get 4 straight road wins? Or does the home team buckle down? Well, we get an extra inning game. That's what all this color means. It means you go 9 innings, then when you get to the extras, you turn around and keep going until it's over with the available space you have. We got some lefties for the first time. We have Gary Peters, a lefty for Colorado. We have Woody Fryman, a lefty for Vegas, who's had a tremendous year with his Tiger card of 72, probably going to the All-Star game. But early on in this one, Woody Fryman's pretty mortal. He gets knocked around in the middle innings, a solo homer by Andy Costco. And it's the Rockies who finally have a big inning and take a big lead in this series, 4-0. It's up to Vegas to come back and show their mettle. And do they? Well, in the 8th inning, they get the bases loaded. They get an error on the first baseman, Kingman. They get a couple runs. It's 4-2. But the big event is the 9th inning. Mel Queen, the closer, he's got a 2-run lead, trying to tie this thing up. He gets the first 2 guys out. Ken Berry single. Ron Hansen walk. Then with 2 on and 2 outs, Bacabella rolls a home run chance. Now he misses it. It's a double. But Ron Hansen decides he's going to chug along. And again, the home team runners can run at my discretion, whereas the road teams are constants. It's got to be a 14 or better. Hansen, believe it or not, is a 9 runner. So +2 makes it 11. And the arm in left field of Alea is +1, making it 12. And he rolled a 12 and slid in across the plate. It was called safe. A 12 and a 12, very close. But it tied the game. And the game went into the 12th inning. Both teams used up their bullpen. Remember, the bullpens were bad a few games ago. This time, the Vegas bullpen, 4 shutout innings and 5 strikeouts. They were actually better than the starter Woody Fryman, which is bizarre, because Fryman's better than Roger Hambright and Jim York. Eventually, the Rockies ended up with their last pitcher, John Cumberland. They used up Fitzmaurice, Schellenbach, and Queen. And in the bottom of the 12th inning, a RBI single by Ken Berry, and Las Vegas proves their mettle. They are a tough-minded, hard-nosed baseball team, and they're playing winning baseball against an unbalanced Colorado team at this point, who rely on the home run, and Colorado clearly has not hit enough home runs. They simply are not crushing the ball enough to warrant all the bad defense and bad pitching and so forth they have on their team. So Vegas is up 3-1 and trying to defend their title, trying to go into the All-Star break in first place. And the National League is thinking, have at it, Las Vegas. We'd like to see one of these teams get knocked out, and that would be the Rockies. So that's what the National League is rooting for. Rocky fans certainly are not rooting for that, as we have a Game 5 in Las Vegas. Coming back on 3 days rest will be the aces of each team, Dick Drago and Ray Culp. Not a lot of Hall of Famers, obviously, on these two expansion teams, but pretty competitive games, and they're exciting games, and you just don't know what's going to happen. Surprises all over the place. So expect some fun baseball today in Game 5 in Las Vegas. Let's get started. Leading off for Colorado is Rick Monday. 311, Sky's a center. Phil Gagliano, 1-3, rolls a short. And Joe LaHood, 64, bounced to short. Hanson's a 4-14, and he gets a ground ball B. Bottom of the first. Tommy Davis leading off because, well, nobody else can really qualify to lead off. 67 is a strikeout. Ron Hansen, who's been to a few All-Star games with this card, 54, bounced to third X. This is Don Money, who's good at 2E21, but he surrenders a single. Art Shamsky, former Met, 37, Sky's the center. And John Bacabella, 56, Sky's the right field. Top of 2, Brant Alea leads it off. Now, you've been following the Colorado Rockies in the last 2-3 years. The name, we'll show you the card. The name Brant Alea means all-star and possible MVP candidate. And if it's on YouTube, there's a pretty high chance he's going to hit a home run today. He's hit a home run in almost every broadcast I've done of the Colorado Rockies. He seems to know when I'm broadcasting because he hasn't hit a homer in the first 4 games of this series. So we'll see, folks. We'll see. Here he is, Brant Alea. 5'11", bounces to second. This is Kubiak, a 3E29 at second base. GBC. If you're wondering, Alea was a twin in 69 and 70. Had good years, played about half the season, and helped the Mets, helped the Twins win the American League West in 69 and 70. Don Money, 2-7's a single. Paul Ratliff, 2-8, triple 108 is a triple on the 1, and that's an RBI, and the Rockies grab the first run. Dave Kingman, 1-7, let's take a look at Dave Kingman's card. This would have been a San Francisco Giant card in 1971. But if you recall, the Giants had like a bazillion outfielders who were all very good. Plus they had Ed Goodson, Gary Matthews, Gary Maddox in the minor leagues. They had Willie Mays. They had Bobby Bonds. They had Ken Henderson. So Dave Kingman was traded to Colorado. And he is your prototypical Rocky when it comes to homers, walks, and strikeouts. Here, 1-7 is triple 1 to 13. That's a double. And it's 2-0. Andy Costco, let's take a look at him before he swings, because his 1973 card was the first round pick of the Rockies this year because of the home runs. This is what it means to be a Colorado Rocky. Home run, home run, home runs, some walks, and a bunch of strikeouts. The pitch to Andy Costco. 59, rolls the second. Burner goes to third with 2 outs for Jim Driscoll. 68, Sky's the center. 2-0, bottom of the second inning. Original A-Rod, Aurelio Rodriguez. 68 is a single. He's a B-stealer. Ratliff's got a 0 arm, but they're down a couple. He'll hold it first for Jim Nettles. 38 Nettles is a single to left. A-Rod's a 14 runner. Alea, again, has a plus arm. It's a plus 1 arm. He's going to try and go coast to coast with nobody out. And he makes it. Ken Berry, 8 bunter. They got to bring it up. 4-10, short X. This is Driscoll. Oh, yeah, a 4. E48. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's going to be a single dot. The Rockies are one team that doesn't mind having a 4E48 play short. It's not part of their evaluation process. They're strictly looking for power and things like that. And, well, just cost them a run here, maybe more. RBI single and a ... So Nettles goes to third as the tie run. For Kubiak, they're going to play back. 2-8, Kubiak, single 1-10, line out to second, and he lines out on a 16. Ron Hodges, 4-4, off Drago's a walk. The bases are loaded for Tommy Davis. Let's take a look at Tommy, the leadoff hitter. He was an Oakland A in 71. He's between stops for the Dodgers, eventually to the Orioles. In 71, he's with the A's. I'm not sure if he's on the 72 A's. I don't think he is. He's probably moved on to Baltimore then, I think. I don't know if he gets a World Series ring for... That'd be a fun thing to look up. Tommy Davis and World Series rings. I don't think he got one with the Dodgers. It would have to have been in 65. He might have gotten one in 65. I don't think he plays for the A's in 72, 3, and 4. I think he's with Baltimore. Anyway, this 71 Oakland A card hits 324. So with the bases loaded and one out, here is the pitch to Tommy Davis. 2-8 is your 6-4-3 double play, just what the Rockies wanted. With the bases loaded and one out. So that's a very rare positive result for the Rocky defense there, thanks to Tommy Davis. We go to the third. It's Rick Monday. Monday, 1-8 is a K. Phil Gagliano, 44, 1-15 homer. It is a single. He doesn't have power. One of the few players on Colorado not to have power. He just has a ton of walks on this card. Here's Joe LaHood, 34, a K. And with two outs, here is Brant Alea, 33, bounds to third. Bottom of the third, Ron Hansen, 1-6, skies the center. Art Shamsky, 57, is a base hit. John Bacabella, 35, single 1-14, rolls a 15. And with two outs, it's A-Rod, 4-4, catcher's card. This is Ratliff's a 4E8 catcher. He makes the play. We go to the fourth. Don Money, 1-9, is a bounce to short. Paul Ratliff, 4-4. Homer 1-12 off of Culp. It is gone! A solo shot for Paul Ratliff. Another Minnesota Twin player from 70. The Rockies have a couple guys. They have Alea and Ratliff were twins. Gagliano was a Red Sox, and I think they have Gary Peters was a Red Sox. So they find players all over Major League Baseball, obviously, and sometimes they like to take players from the same team multiple times. Dave Kingman, 69, center. Andy Costco, 49, second X. And if you're wondering, mentioning the Red Sox and Twins losing offensive players, yeah, they can afford to lose offensive players. The Twins and Red Sox had some of the best offense in all of baseball during this era, so they could lose these fringe extra players. Anyway, second X is Kubiak, a 329, and he boots that ball. Jim Driscoll, 110 is a single to center field. 2 on, 2 outs for Ray Culp. He's had a good year, but he's scuffling today. He needs an out here. It's Rick Monday. 64, short X. Hansen's a 4E14 at short, and he makes the play. So, the Rockies get a run, but waste the 2 base runners. Bottom of the fourth, it's Jim Nettles leading off. 111 lines to first. Ken Berry, 48, flies to left. Ted Kubiak, 1-7, grounds to second. Dick Draco's doing a nice job here. Top of the fifth, Phil Gagliano, 49, bounces to second. Again, this is Kubiak, a 3E29, and he just cannot field a ground ball today. That's another error. Joe LaHood, 2-8, homer 1-2 fly ball, and he missed the homer 1-2 fly ball. Here's Brant, 48, is a walk. Culp has put men on every inning but the first. 2 on, 1 out here for Don Money. 65 center C, and with 2 outs, it's Ratliff, who has got the hard parts of the cycle already done, a homer and a triple. 1-3, skies the right field. The Rockies have wasted an opportunity to get a huge lead in this game, in a game they must win. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Bottom of the fifth, Vegas says they came back in game 4. Can they do it again in game 5? Or do they want to rely on a third road win in Colorado? Here's Ron Hodges to lead it off. 2-6, single 1 to 9, rolls a 10. We've seen them miss a lot today. Tommy Davis. 1-8, this time it's a base hit. He's a beast stealer. Check this out, folks. A beast stealer, 1 to 9 runner. You're not going to see that very often. Being held on, and you have right left is a 0-arm catcher, but they're down a couple runs. They'll let Hansen bat. 1-9 for Hansen, of course. It is a 6-4-3 double play. Vegas today is playing very dysfunctional baseball for the first time in the series. Normally it had been the Rockies, but the tables have turned. We go to the 6. It's Dave Kingman. 3-12 is a walk. He's a C stealer. Andy Costco, 68, skies are right. Jim Driscoll, 67 is a K. And with 2 outs, it's Rick Monday. 57 is a K. Colt gets through 6 innings, just 3-1. Art Shamsky, 67 is a K. John Bacabella, 39, center. And original A-Rod, 45, bounces to short. The 4E48 shortstop makes an error. Some really shady defense today, folks. We've had, 1, 2, 3 errors and a couple singles allowed by the defense. And your tie run with 2 outs in the 6th is Jim Nettles. Let's take a look at this guy. Jim Nettles. Interesting card here. During the draft, Vegas was looking for an everyday left fielder, and oh boy, folks, there was none to find. By everyday, I mean that they only had 1 roster spot left and they had a hole in left field, so they couldn't go with a platoon. They found Nettles, and they said, you know what, because of his defense, which is a 2, and the fact that he has power against lefties as a lefty, we're going to let this dude play every day. And in the long or short career of Jim Nettles, this would be probably his best year of 1971. Another Minnesota Twin player. And I'm not thinking the Twins are too concerned that these guys are getting away, because the Twins are in first place in their division. But here is a big moment. Runner at first, 2 outs for Jim Nettles against Dick Drago. Here's the pitch. 68 is double. 1-6, single at that. He gets the double. Now you got 2 guys in scoring position for Ken Berry. Let's check this guy out. Ken Berry has the perfect defense, the 1E0 in 72. Always could field. His bat was always kind of meh. But in 72, he has a really nice year. It's 289 in about 450 plate appearances. Has a little bit of power against left-handed pitching. He is the everyday center fielder for this team. And when you consider Nettles as a 2 in left and a 1 in center, and when an expansion team has everyday defense that good, that's going to help out a team. So here's the pitch to Ken Berry. 66 off Drago is second X. He is another 4, a 4-8 second baseman. But he makes the play. What a difference for the 2 teams. Talking about defense. So, Colorado brings a 4E48 shortstop and a 4E8 second baseman in the game, and they managed to survive with giving up just 1 run through 6 innings with this bad defense. We go to the 7th. Drago and Culp, the aces of each team, are both starter 8s. And again, a nice competitive game between these 2 teams. Real tight baseball here. Phil Gagliano leads off in the 7th. 3-6 is a walk. Joe LaHood, 58's a strikeout. And here's Brant Alea, 55, short X. This is the 4E14 shortstop, GBC. So that moves Gagliano to second with 2 outs for Don Money. The pitch to Don. 58 is a strikeout. Ray Culp. Made some mistakes in the early mid innings, and he's settled down since. Stretch time in Las Vegas. We're enjoying one of the best sacks you're going to hear out of Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Getachew Mkuria, 1972. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Wonderful stuff here. Found this guy on the Ethiopics playlists. It's kind of like a various artists thing, and then once you dig up an artist you like from a various artist, you can dig into them, and I've been really digging this guy. 1972. However, most of this music, or a big part of his career, was in the late 50s and the 60s. So there you go, folks. Getachew Mkuria and his saxophone. Back to the game. In the bottom of the 7th inning, Drago, the ace of the team, is going to... You have to beat him, folks. If you're not gonna let his bullpen blow it for him. So Ted Kubiak leads off with a strikeout. Ron Hodges bounces to short. Oh boy, Driscoll, 4-48. He makes the play. Drago's gotten some breaks with his below average defense. Tommy Davis, he's been on once today. 1/8's a single. He's being held on base for Ron Hansen. Let's take a look at Ron before he swings, because Ron, with this card, a New York Yankee in 1970 with just 110 plate appearances, scooped up by Vegas. Again, versatility, all the infield positions, and of course, all the on base and power both ways. Has had 3 great years in a row with this card, and where he has been Vegas's lone representative in the All-Star game once or twice. So here he is in a big moment as the tie run. The pitch to Ron Hansen. 48 off of Drago, skies the left field. Pitching is the order of the day. We've had a bunch of low-scoring games with, well, at least the Rockies have the power and punch. But it's been, I wouldn't call them Hall of Fame pitchers, but really decent pitchers pitching well in this series, and Drago and Culp are doing the same thing today. In the 8th, Culp will go back out there to face Paul Ratliff, who's been the thorn in his side with a homer and triple. The pitch to Paul. 4-4 again. Culp homer 1-12 double. And no, he's not going to go for the cycle, folks. He's going over the wall with a solo homer on a 6. Foregoing 3/4 of the cycle. It's the Paul Ratliff Show. It is now 4-1. Dave Kingman. 2/8's a K. Andy Costco. 39 is a K, and with 2 outs, it's Jim Driscoll. 3-11 flies to right, and the Rockies, you're taking Driscoll out, and they're going to let Rick Auerbach play short. Even a team that's relies on homers, walks, and strikeouts will occasionally look at the analytics and say, let's improve our defense, with 6 outs to go and a 3-run lead. So Auerbach's going to play short. He's a 3.33 at short. The other bench players are not good defensively. Dick Drago with a 3-run lead and 6 outs to go. They got Mel Queen, their closer, warming. And Art Shamsky leads off in the 8th. 2-6, single 1 to 16. He gets the base hit. John Bacabella. 58, lines to third. Original A-Rod, Aurelio Rodriguez. 34, pops to short. And with 2 outs, our guy Jim Nettles, who's 2 for 3 today. The pitch to Jim. 5-11, skies it into right X. And they got somebody bad out there. No, somebody good. Lahoud is actually a 3-9. Well, good enough for this team. A3, E9, and a fly ball A. So the Rockies are also getting breaks with their defense. We're going to go to the 9th of a 4-1 game. And we're going to take Culp out after 8. He survived a pretty uneven start. Did put guys on most innings. Probably fortunate to just give up the 4 runs. And Vegas will turn to their closer to keep it close in the 9th inning, and that would be Jim Rowland. Jim Rowland was an Oakland A in 71. I believe he continued with the A's and probably got himself a ring in 72, 3, or 4. I want to say. They also had, I guess they would have had Paul Lindblad from the south side of the mound in that era. But here is Jim Rowland in the 9th. He is the Vegas closer, trying to keep it tight with 2 lefties due up in the inning. Rick Monday will lead off. 2-6, lefty schmefty. Let's take a look at Rick Monday's card. So Rick Monday, if you're wondering, because you've been seeing a lot of Colorado games on YouTube, yeah, he's kind of like a lifetime Rocky. Part of that Hall, not really Hall of Fame, but the Hall of Very Good. Monday, when a guy plays for a bunch of teams, that makes him a good candidate for an expansion team. And Monday played for, well, the Cubs, the A's, the Dodgers. So he was signed by the Rockies, and they're not going to let him go. They're going to hold on to him because they need some identity on the team year to year. And Monday can play pretty much all through this decade, through the early 80s. 2-6 off his card is double 1 at 10. That's a double. Phil Gagliano. 2-7 is a walk, and Rowland is in trouble. Joe LaHood with 2 on, nobody out. Let's take a look at LaHood. He's not that bad against lefties. And he's a Milwaukee Brewer in 72. I know he played for Boston a little bit as well. He will bat here with 2 on and nobody out. 112 is third B. Runners from the corners, they have to bring it up. They can't afford any more runs. And here's our boy Brandt. He hasn't got a hit today, which is rare for YouTube. Let's see what he does now. 33 is third A. He'll go over. But the runner from first moves to second with the infield up. And it's Don Money. 2 on, 2 outs. The pitch to Don Money. 1-3 is a sky to right field. It will come down to the bottom of the 9th of a 4-1 game. Drago and Queen is warming. It'll be the 7, 8, 9 hitters, Berry, Kubiak, and Hodges. Here we go with Ken Berry. 56 is a sky to right. Ted Kubiak. 411, first X. This is Kingman, a 3E22. And another error. Only the second of the day, though. Could have been much worse thus far for Colorado. But you can see this porous defense has already given up 2 errors in a game where they've only given up 1 run. So it's Ron Hodges. They like to get this up to Davis, Hansen, and Shamsky with a chance to tie this game if possible. Ron Hodges. 47 off Drago is single 1 of 16. He rolls a 15 and gets the single, and the tie run will come to the plate for Vegas. It'll be Tommy Davis who has power, Hansen has power, and Shamsky. Drago is the heart and soul of this team, and as a starter 8, you would need to get 2 more hitters on base to break him, and he's got a 3-1 lead. So, Queen faltered in Game 4. They're not going to make the same mistake. You're going to have to beat Dick Drago here. First and second, 1 out, bottom of the 9th. The pitch to Tommy Davis, who is 2 for 4. 46, Drago strikes him out. That's the benefit of a starter 8 pitcher. He is not broken. No, if you would have broken the guy, that would have been a hit. And with 2 outs, your tie run, we saw his card earlier, Ron Hansen, a single on double play today. The pitch to Ron Hansen. 3-6! He rolled the card and hit it! Or did he? Homer, 1 of 14 fly ball. He rolls a 13 and hits it! A 3-run homer by Ron Hansen in the bottom of the 9th. We are tied 2 games in a row. Vegas ties the game in the 9th inning. Folks, maybe we really do have a Cinderella here. Remarkable 3-run homer by Ron Hansen in the bottom of the 9th inning. He also tied the game in the bottom of the 9th with his legs, as you recall, by running on a 1 of 12 result. Drago cannot believe it. We got a 4-4 tie. And what do you do? If you're Drago, he's still not broken. So he can try and finish this inning at 4-4, and maybe his team can score in the 10th and give Drago a win in the bottom of the 10th. So let's see here. It will be Art Shamsky in a 4-4 tie. It's getting kooky here in the desert with Las Vegas. The pitch to Art Shamsky. 34 pops to short, and we got extra innings again, folks. We've seen a few of these. I think this is the third one in a row. All the games in Vegas have gone extra innings. Colorado won the first one in 10 innings. Then Vegas won game 4, 12 innings. We're back to a 10-inning game. Jim Rowland is a relief 3 and is the closer. There's no real reason to take him out. So here we go. We'll just go right into the 10th inning of a 4-4 tie. Paul Ratliff is the first batter. Let's look at the Ratliff card. I mean, he's gotten all of this off of the pitcher's card. He hit the triple off his 2-8, but he got the homers off of Culp's card. As you can see against lefties, he doesn't have power, but he does have on base. God, I hate to take a guy who's 3 for 4 with 11 bases out of the game, particularly when it's extra innings. But I'm going to do it. Ratliff's going to be hooked because, you know, Rowland's not coming out. And we get a nice option, a platoon catcher. We got Jack Hyatt. Jack Hyatt will be the catcher against lefties. Let's take a look at Jack. He's more like what you would expect from a Colorado Rocky. He's got those walks all over his card, and he's got power against lefties. So Jack Hyatt will lead off in the top of the 10th against the lefty Rowland here. The pitch to Jack Hyatt. 33 flies to right. It's the dangerous Dave Kingman. 48 for Kingman is a walk. Rowland, this is not the type of lineup he will excel against. There's not many lefties in it. Really, it's just Monday and LaHood at the top. But you still got Costco, Auerbach, and Gagliano coming up. Here is the dangerous Andy Costco. Saw his card earlier. 52, skies the center field. And with 2 outs, it's Rick Auerbach. 65 off Rowland is Short X. He's a 40-14 shortstop. And this is the hero Hansen, just turned into a goat for a few minutes. That's a single dot with 2 outs in the top of the 10th inning. You've got runners on the corners with 2 outs. But for Rowland, fortunately, you got a left-handed batter, Rick Monday, who actually doubled off of Rowland the last time he faced him in the 9th. Here is the pitch with runners on the corners and 2 outs in the top of the 10th inning to Rick Monday. 37 is a K. We go to the bottom of the 10th, and Mr. Drago has to come out of the game. My starter 8s don't go extras. Only my starter 9s do. So Drago gave you 9 innings of a 4-4 thriller. You get what you paid for, these 2 squads. Boy, I tell you, it's really not. I mean, the trouble when you're trying to figure out who to bring in against Las Vegas, nobody on this team really scares you. So lefty, righty, it just doesn't matter that much. Mel Queen's the closer, but I'd rather bring him in as a road team with a lead. So they have some capable lefties. And of those, we're going to go, let me see, Schellenbach or Cumberland? We're going to go Jim Schellenbach in the 10th. Nice year. Jim Schellenbach was a Texas Ranger in 1972 with a 3.47 ERA and 57 innings. He will come in the bottom of the 10th inning. It'll be Boccabello, A-Rod, and Nettles for a chance to win this series in a walk-off and win it 4-1. John Boccabella, 4-12, rolls the pitcher. Original A-Rod, 2-8, bounces to third. And with 2 outs, it's Jim Nettles. Remember I told you he has power against lefties. 56 is a K. Schellenbach is up to the task. We'll go to the 11th inning now. Again, we just keep rolling, filling results in this column, and then if a game continues, you take up the available spaces when it applies. So we go to the 11th inning. This will be Roland's third and final inning of relief. He's a relief 3, so we're going to max him out with Phil Gagliano leading off in the 11th. 1-6 for Gagliano is going to be a double to center field. Now you have Joe LaHood, and Colorado could go to the righty here. But if you do that, they're going to hook Roland. So both teams are going to make their moves. So they're actually, last time they let LaHood bat. This time they're going to be more aggressive, and they're going to go to the right-handed pinch hitter, Joe Liss. Let's take a look at him first. Joe Liss, you're perfect. Look up Colorado Rocky in the dictionary. You'll see a picture of this guy. Homers, walks, strikeouts. That's what this team does. He comes on, but that also means that the Rockies are all right-handed. The next 7 batters are all right-handed. So, with that being the case, Vegas is going to push their righty reliever against righties, Jim York. Power versus power. Jim York's susceptible to lefties, but he's dominant against righties here. And the Rockies are not the type of team to bunt and tag up and do that sort of thing. So Joe Liss and Jim York here in the 11th with a runner at second and nobody out. Joe Liss. The pitch to Joe Liss. 58 is double one fly ball, and he fly balls. Now, of course, that doesn't move the runner up from second base. He's stuck there. But here's our boy Brant. Very quiet day for our all-star, Brantalea. No better moment than now, folks. Here we go. The pitch to Brantalea. 2-10 is single 1 of 4, but he rolls a 14. And with 2 outs, it's Don Money. 2-9, Don Money. Let's take a look at his card. He was with the Phillies in 70 with this 295 card. Short and third, great player. Again, he was like a lifetime Rocky because he bounced around to a few teams, the Brewers, Phillies, and so forth. But 2-9 here is your single ... and the Rockies do take a 5-4 lead. That run will be charged to Jim Roland. Runner at first, 2 outs, Jack Hyatt. 5-10 off of York. Homer 1 double is a double now. Money. Can he score from first on the double? He's a 14, 15, 16. Barry with a 0 arm makes it a 16. And he scores on a 2. So Jim York does not have any answers here in the 11th inning, sadly, for Vegas. And the rest of the National League groans as this series drones on, it looks like. Dave Kingman, runner at second and 2 outs. The pitch to Dave Kingman. 2-5, double 1 of 2, single ... Now it's a 3-run lead. 7 of 4. Jim York has wearing the goat horns. Andy Costco, the runner at first and 2 outs. 1-7, we saw the card earlier. Let's flash it up there again, folks. They figured it out. The Colorado Rockies late in this one. My goodness, a homer in the 8th and more damage here. This is a 2-run homer, and what was a tight game has turned to a mess. 9-4 suddenly. Rick Auerbach, 2-6 is a pop to second base. And this series looks like it's going back to Colorado. Oh my. Schellenbach, well, he'll come out after his 1 inning. And Mel Queen will come in with a 5-run lead. This shouldn't be that difficult. And he will face Ken Berry, who started the 9th inning where they came back with 3 runs. Let's see if he can do it again. Ken Berry. 64, bouncer to short. But now it's Auerbach, a 3 at shortstop. E33, he makes the play. Ted Kubiak, 65, left field. 2 outs for Ron Hodges. 3-11, bounces to second base, and it took 11 innings and 1 blown late lead, and it was the Rockies getting the extra inning win, must win. The The move was to get Roland out of there and get somebody else in there. And as soon as they got fresh meat in the bullpen, those right-handed batters of the Rockies just took off. Money, Hyatt, Kingman, and Costco just rocked Jim York in the 11th inning. And Colorado wins Game 5. The road team has won 4 out of the 5 games in this series. So who knows, folks? This thing might go 7. Roland, unfortunately, has to take the loss. He gave up, let's see. He gave up a hit, a walk, a hit, 2 walks, and a K, and then that leadoff double and a run in that inning, which gives him the loss. York was bad. 4 hits and 4 runs. All charged to him, but he doesn't get the loss. Ray Culp really gave you 8, decent innings. He had these struggles. He left a bunch of guys on base. Gave up 8 hits and 4 runs. I'd say 2, 3, they were all earned. Walked 3, struck out 8. Mel Queen gets the save in the 11th inning. And a nice 10th inning for Schellenbach, who gets the win. Nice bullpen work for the Rockies. Dick Drago, excellent no decision. A bizarre 9th inning where he gave up, 3 unearned runs because an error started that thing. And it was a 2-out, 3-run homer. So he gave up 11 hits, 4 runs, only 1 was earned, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. So the Rockies really put more men on in this one. 101-11, 0-1-0-11, 9-14, 4-11, 5-9-1-5. They had these walks. They had 19 men on base to 12 for the Vegas. All right. So let's look at the year-to-date numbers for these squads. This series is tightened up again. Home field returns to the Colorado Rockies, but home field has not been very good. Neither team taking advantage of home field advantage. And the teams are tightening up the standings too, to the chagrin of the National League. Both teams are trying to get into the playoffs. And when we look at what we're going to take a peek at the standings in a few moments here. The teams are separated by half game. The Rockies are 15-13, and the Vegas is 16-13. Let's start with the Rockies, hitting .247, that's about right, with a .394 ERA, which is better than expected. Mel Queen's got 9 saves. He might be the All-Star Game closer as well as that is. Brantalea, he had a cold day today, not a good day, but he still has 10 homer and 27 RBI on the year. For Vegas, they are hitting .265 with a .383 ERA. And it's kind of a mixed bag here. Woody Fryman is 5-0 with 13 earned runs allowed in 58 innings. He could very well be their all-star. The bullpen's been kind of meh. Roland and, York, you just saw him blow up. By the way, Jim Roland's got 3 losses as the Vegas closer. That's not good anytime. Offensively, it's hard to, I guess, let's say, how's Ron Hansen doing this year? 32 for 105 with 29 walks. Wow, that's like a 450 on-base percentage. Great year for Hansen. Might find himself back in the All-Star game. So, 441 games have been played. The league is hitting .263 with a .386 ERA. We will have a Game 6 in Colorado and a Game 7 if necessary, with Vegas still up 3-2. But let's look at the standings in this division. And, there's Vegas, 16-13, a half game above Colorado, 15-13. Even the Diamondbacks are hovering at 500. Why this is bad news is that, look up here, and you got the Cardinals at 500. But this is your Pittsburgh Pirate franchise who's played terrible baseball this year and deserved this 12-15 record. They were swept by the Cardinals, and they're not looking good right now. And there are too many teams in this National League fighting and scratching and clawing, trying to get in the playoffs. Look at the Astros, a couple games over 500. The Giants are a game up. And even the Braves at 3 up. And the Marlins are a game over 500 after wiping out the Phillies. This is bad news for the Pirates. They're going to have to run the table and sweep some teams to try and sneak in as a wild card. But it's not looking good for a team who had the best record in baseball in the National League in 71 and 72. 2 years in this timeline. Of course, the other team in this timeline are the Reds, who are doing fine, and the Mets are doing fine. So, and the Dodgers are doing fine. But this year, I think the biggest story in the National League this year is the Pittsburgh Pirates. They are cooked at this point. I don't see how it can work out. They'd have to go on a remarkable winning streak, like win 8 out of 9 games. So, that's it. At the end of the video, we'll give you the results of Game 6 and let you know who wins the series between the Rockies and Rivieras and who's in first place in this division. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see you next time. Well, baseball fans, the series ended in 6 games as the road team did it again. Rather curious game. The starters are the same starters from Game 1, Blue Moon Odom and Ron Reed. Early on, we get a 2-run homer here by A-Rod. 2-0 game, low-scoring game again. Then in the 5th inning, we get a solo homer by Costco. It's 2-1. In the 6th inning, Vegas starts to knock Ron Reed around a little bit. An RBI double by Nettles and a sac fly by A-Rod, and it's 4-1. And then in the 7th inning, Colorado's defense craters a 2-base error on Alea, an error on Don Money, and a single, and Ron Reed is gone from the game with his defense being the culprit. So it's 5-1, and you're thinking Blue Moon Odom is going to cruise through this, but in the bottom of the 7th, a walk, a fly out, Blue Moon boots the ball. He's an E38 pitcher. That doesn't help. A single by LaHood, and then it is, Brant Alea. It wasn't on YouTube this time, but our boy Brant, the MVP guy I was mentioning, he hit a grand slam in the bottom of the 7th, down 5-1. We are tied at 5. So both teams go to the bullpen. John Cumberland, who lost the extra inning game in Las Vegas, comes on at home, gives up a single to A-Rod, and then it's Jeff Torborg, who has no power on his card, had 1 homer and 137 at-bats, and there he just hit it on a 2-11 on his own card. Rather remarkable 2-run shot for Vegas in the top of the 8th inning. And their bullpen, Tom Dukes this time does a nice job, and Jim Rowland does get the save. So that makes up for Jim York's mistakes in Game 5. Yes, Las Vegas. They do win this series 7-5, and they win it 4-2. So what does that mean for this division in the National League? At the present moment, the Rockies are no longer the wild card spot. That belongs down to the Astros by a half game. But in the postseason tournament, it'll be a nice little run here in the beginning, because all 4 teams, even look at Portland, they're just 3 under 500, 3.5 back of the leader. So there's still baseball to be played, and I don't necessarily see 2 of these teams going to the playoffs now. With these 3 teams, a combined game under 500. So that bodes well for the Astros and the Giants and the Braves and then the Marlins and the Cardinals before the Cubs, because the Cardinals swept the Cardinals before the Pirates, because the Cardinals swept the Pirates. So that's where we are thus far. We still have to play the Mets and Braves. Still have to tangle for first place in the National League East for the All-Star break. That comes up soon. Thanks for checking out the video. We'll see you next time.